Hello students. Okay, so this is your recap for how to use this equation right here when measuring each of the fringe locations here on our hair diameter lab. So today in class you should have created something that looked more or less like this, except with more fringes marked. So here's the U's that I was talking about in class. Again, you would measure, put a line here at the beginning of this fringe, another one at the end. That's the initial and final for fringe number 1. Another one here, and then there. That's for fringe number 2, and so on and so forth. And this would be fringe -1, -2, -3. So that ends up looking like this. You would then use your ruler to measure the distance from the starting point or the origin or this spot to the initial portion of the first fringe. And I measured that for me as 4 millimeters, and yours would probably be something different. I measured the end of that first fringe at 9 millimeters, and so to find the center of that, I take the average. I do this. I take Y1 initial, add Y1 final, and find Y1 average. So that's 4 plus 9, which is 13, divided by 2 is 6.5 millimeters. But what I do with that? Well, in the data chart that you created, you would put it here. So that's for fringe number 1. Initial was 4, final was 9, average is 6.5. And so you're going to do that over and over and over for all of these. When you're done, you're going to calculate the diameter using the average. So here's how that works. The equation, like I said, is this one right here. Now there's a couple examples for how to do this here and here. One for the first fringe with a laser of wavelength 633 nanometers and a distance of 1.5 meters, and another with the same laser, same distance, but this time for the 4th order fringe. Now our lasers have a different wavelength. Ours are 655 and our distance was 1 meter. So things are a little bit different, but the setup is the same. So here's an example for how to do this. I chose to look at the first negative fringe over here. And so here's our equation again. The D stands for the diameter of human hair. This is wavelength. This is the number of the fringe, or M. And this big D is the distance from the hair to the wall. And so that for us is 1 meter. And then this is Y average, which is what we calculate for each one. So here's what I did. Here's the formula again. I plugged in our wavelength in meters, 655 times 10 to the minus 9 meters. I plugged in the number or the value for the fringe, since it was fringe -1, or this one on the left, it gets a -1, and the distance is 1 meter. Y average, remember it was 6.5 millimeters, and I have to convert that to meters, and so I have to divide by 1,000, and so that becomes 0.0605 meters. Also notice it's negative because we're measuring to the left now, and so that's a negative number. When you solve, and I won't solve it for you, but when you solve this, you're going to have some negatives, and they'll cancel out. Also, you have meters times meters divided by meters. So think about what that does. This becomes meters squared divided by meters. Think about what the units are, and you'll get an answer, and the answer will be very small. If we look at the examples given here, we've got answers in the 10 to the minus 5 meters, or they give the answer in micrometers or micrometers. This is a millionth of a meter. That's what that means, which is 1 times 10 to the minus 6. So if you have questions about this, if you're not comfy, you have a hard time with scientific notation, go to Khan Academy. Take a look at a video on scientific notation and how to solve these problems. Go talk to your math teacher, or come see me at nutrition or lunch. You need to find these diameters for all of these. So you're going to be doing this equation over and over and over again. And you should be checking that with your group mates. Not doing it and then giving them the answer, but you should be checking and comparing your answers. It's called cross-checking. You want to make sure they did the same thing that you did, or sorry, you want to make sure that you both got the same answers, doing the work independently, because you want to make sure that you both independently did it correct. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.